What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome on in. Welcome to the 411 podcast. It is amazing. I feel great. I feel amazing, especially when I'm able to do what I love. And I'm here again one more time in life. And I'm just going to kick this thing off. And I'm just going to go ahead and give it all to my executive producer, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you so much for giving me another opportunity to come out here and do this 4-in-1 podcast. This is a new way, a new version, new heights, new growth, and just new things are coming. And I'm here. So I want to say thank you so much. So it's been a long time coming. I'm going to take my time tonight to share my growth, share the journey. But I started this thing in 2020. Here we are 5 years later. And there was a point where I got a little nervous, and there was a point where there needed to be some healing, there needed to be some education, there needed to be a lot of growth, everything. So I stepped away for a minute, and I did that. And I'm just thankful that I'm here to be able to do it again and the way that it was supposed to be done in the first place. I had no idea what was going on in 2020 when I went through my spiritual awakening. Some people call it, a breakdown, nervous breakdown. But, when the breakdown comes, there comes a breakthrough. So that's exactly what happened. And now we're breaking through again, even to bigger heights. So enough of that. But I just want to say thank you so much. Welcome to my new version of the 4-in-1 podcast, Reading Between the Wines. And this is a mentorship series. This is a program where I basically letting you all know what I've been doing for the past couple years. I've been studying, I've been growing, and stepping into my purpose. And that's it. I've been in the retail sector for over 25 years, teaching and training people about things that I wasn't passionate about, and I was brainwashed to follow somebody else's plan. And finally, now I'm at a point in my life where I'm actually following, the Lord's plan, and I'm following my own plan, and I'm doing things that, I've always wanted to do in such a new way. And so I'm here doing that. And again, going to say thank you so much to everybody who has helped me along the way, and people who continue to rock with me. But I have an obligation to give back to my community and to not spread any confusion. I'll put it that way. Make sure that I'm coming correct. Make sure that I'm walking in the truth. A lot of people say your truth. Go ahead, girl, tell your truth. Go ahead, son, go ahead and tell your truth. But no, I don't want to go ahead and tell my truth. I want to make sure that I'm telling the truth. So that's what this whole mentorship series is about: is teaching, training, developing, and walking and speaking the truth. And that's where we're at. So welcome to Mental Mondays. Every Monday we're going to be here, same place, same time, going through the mental pillar of my company, Black Diamond Consultations. I focus on debt-free living because, yes, I'm so proud to say that I am debt-free today, and I've always dreamt of being debt-free. I was just stuck and didn't know how to get out. As one of my mentors that I look up to says, stuck like Chuck in a pickup truck. I was stuck for so many years. I was stuck in the matrix. I was doing all of the things that everybody else was doing, thinking I needed to have everything that everybody had, and I got what everybody got. And now I'm finally I've broken free from that, and it's my mission. It is my purpose to make sure that I do whatever I have to do to separate and stay away from it as far as possible. Because when you know better, you do better, and I know better, and I'm doing better. So welcome to Mental Mondays, where we're going to dig into the mental side of debt-free living. We also have Transformational Tuesdays, where we can go ahead and transform our mindset, our physical appearance, everything. All of that has to do with, living healthy, and there are certain aspects of that that can, keep us stuck when it comes to debt as well. And of course, I love my wine. Wine Down Wednesday, that's going to be a thing as well. It's always there, and it's never going to go anywhere because that's where we started. But having said that, I've drank a lot of bottles of wine on this show, but I want to be real and be clear that you have to do it responsibly. I'm not just going to take my money and just go blow it on expensive bottles of wine, and we ain't going to be drinking every single day. Like, so we're going to speak about that as well, how to do it responsibly and still enjoy and have fun and do the things that you need to do in your life. And then, of course, coaching sessions Thursday, where you're going to get a combination of all of it. We're going to give you debt-free living. From it's a wild card, so you can get spiritual, mental, physical, financial. You never know. Just come by on Thursdays and see what we have. And Financial Fridays, where we dig really deep. We dig really deep. They always say that, we're in this together. And I thought that, well, whatever, that's so like cliche. That's so whatever. But I have to tell anybody out there who's listening to me that we truly are in this together because I'm learning right along with you. Each and every single day I learn something so new. And that's what I'm so passionate about, my growth and my learning, because once I uncovered certain things, it was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, I've really been doing this for how many years? I've been doing what? And yeah, so when I say we in this together, we truly are in this together. And Saturdays, we will not be on broadcasting live, observing the Sabbath day. So no sessions on Saturday, but then we'll be back on Sunday with Spiritual Sundays. So thank you so much to everybody who has come, and, like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend, let them know. And I have some students that are going to be coming in as well. And they're going to be learning and growing. Friends, students, we're family. But I'm just so passionate about the teaching and training aspect of that. So we'll see what happens when, the mentees come in. And I also have some slots available too. So if you are interested in learning how to become debt free, or you want to kick up your game when it comes to your financial literacy, because remember, we always should strive to learn something new every day. And it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, just strive to do better. And the person who doesn't try to learn something new every day, you should be very cautious with that. Try to learn something new every day. And a person who thinks that they know everything, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, they know nothing at all. I went to a financial, not that I act like I know everything, but trust me, the old version of me did. I thought I knew every single thing and ended up not knowing nothing at all. But I went to a financial literacy workshop, and this is what I want to let you know how serious I am about this, because the education pieces that I'm learning and pouring into Black Diamond Consultations obviously is going to trickle down to my students and people who take my coaching. So I went to this 3-day financial program, what was it, a week ago? And I walked away like, oh, I feel like I didn't know anything before walking into there. I felt so confident going into there of all of the things that I've learned since 2022. I've been studying behind the scenes for 2022, 2-3 years, 2.5 years now. I've been studying behind the scenes. So I went into this class, and I was on point. Your boy was on point. I was answering some questions, raising my hand. I felt like I was in school again, but I love this type of school. See, I didn't love the school system that the government and everybody else puts students in, and whatever. I'm not even getting into that. But this type of learning, when it comes to money and getting your life right, and building your legacy, oh, I'm right there. Sign me up for all that. I'm going to sign up for every single class. I'm going to be every single certification. Trust and believe, this is a journey, and we're, like I said, we in this together. So anything that I get from that, I'm going to trickle it down and put it into my coaching program. And but keeping it real with you, I learned so much, and my mind was just like on fire after I left there. And I came across so many new avenues as well. Even just Saturday, I came across so many new things that I'm going to be able to bring right here, bring to the coaching session. So, yeah, amazing. So, here we are, Monday, May 5th. Mental Mondays. Thank you so much for coming in. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend. I've noticed that after 5 years, this podcast has hit new heights. It's hit heights that I've never even seen before, and I never even imagined that I would be there. But truth be told is that we got a heck of a lot more to go, and we have more heights to go. So I'm curious to see. And with this new format and with this new mentorship program, God only knows how far we're going to go. And yeah, we're here. So let me rewind this back because I know it's been a little gap in between episodes. So we're going to start to catch up and rock and roll, and we'll have more daily content coming your way. But I want to give a very special thank you to the special guest who joined the live podcast version in what was it, March. Yeah, thank you so much to every single person who've come through. I've learned a lot. It was a lot of hard work, but it definitely paid off, and I couldn't do it without any of my special guests. So Mr. Antonio, thank you so much for coming through. Thank you so much for supporting me on Instagram. I appreciate you, and I support you as well. Miss Rockwell Hernandez from O'Shea Candles, y'all go ahead and please check her out. um, Canadian artists. I love when I have international guests come on. Thank you so much to Miss Maddie Lee Mars. That girl is beautiful, number one, and she can sing her butt off. So check out Miss Maddie Lee Mars, Canadian artist. Watch the replays. You get to learn about all of the special guests that were here in March. And we have new live podcast sessions coming up soon where all of the cameras will be on and all of that great stuff. You'll be able to see all of my special guests and interact with us. So that will be coming up soon. Also, brother, Mr. Birdman 313. He's going to be in on Wednesday. So he'll be on Wednesday. We're going to talk. We're going to drink some wine. And also, I believe that we will be discussing some of his books as well. So thank you so much for his books and just him being him and constantly supporting Reading Between the Wines. He's a reoccurring guest that comes back, and you're going to hear a lot more from him as he has joined the mentorship program as well. Let's see where we're at. This is such a different dynamic. So this is the first night. So different dynamic because I got my notepad, I got my pen. I get to do so many different things behind the scenes that y'all can't see me, and it's okay. I'm all right with that. When I first started, it was all about lights, camera, action, but I'm all right with this concept here, and we're good. So we get a little bumps in the road and all that stuff. It leaves for more creativity this way when you can't see me. Mr. Ian West, another guest who has been amazing. His third time coming back. He was on Transformation, he was on Evolution, and back for Restoration as well. So thank you so much. And boy, speaking of cameras on and off, Miss Volleen Jackson turned it up and she showed out. She showed out and showed up. And I got a mixed bag feeling. A lot of my guests enjoy being on camera for the first time. I thought it was amazing. I could see some people were a little uncomfortable, but when I first started the 4-in-1 podcast, I started from, basically what I'm doing here right now. I used to be on the phone with my friends when I was younger and we couldn't see each other. This was way before video chat and all that stuff. So I took it back to the ropes when I started it. And I got a lot of slack in the beginning. People were like, well, how come, I can't, these are the people who wanted to be seen. How come you can't see me? How come they can't see me? So those people, they wanted to be seen. That's what it was all about. And there were some people who enjoyed it and they didn't want to be seen. And then when I did put the camera on, some people still didn't want to be seen. So in any case, to each its own. But so you will get the radio version, basically what we're doing here now. You will not see my guest except when we do the live version, which we'll do several live versions throughout the year. So you'll have plenty of time to see the special guests that come on and the students as well. So, but again, I could not do that live series without each and every one of the special guests who've come through. So thank you so much. So let's go ahead and speak about Miss Vonline Jackson. And her uh, podcast was so powerful. And it seemed like we always speak about the same thing, but it was the art of letting go. And the art of letting go, it's a true art, and it's amazing when you learn how to let go. And I remember back, and I'm gonna take it back when I 2020 was just a spiritual awakening for it was a for, first of all, it was a lot. It was a lot for me, a lot of changing, a lot of moving parts, and like I said, and when there's a breakdown, most likely there's going to be a breakthrough. And I remember when I was fresh, it was new. I separated and I got my life together, and I broke up with my significant other and just broke up with my employer. All types of stuff was going on. And I was angry at the time. And I used to say, oh, it doesn't matter. They don't bother me anymore. They don't hurt me anymore. But secretly on the inside, they did. And it bothered me. It hurted me. They took up a lot of real estate in my mental. Every time I heard specific names, I thought about the company that I used to work for, certain foods, certain smells, certain drinks, certain places. Every time that I reminisced, I was ready to go in. And when I thought about how people betrayed me, I was ready to just rip everybody's face off. And even though I looked good on the outside, lost all kinds of weight, started vacationing and doing all types of stuff, the internal dialogue didn't match with the external. So one thing that I have to say is that it truly is an art of letting go. Once you learn how to let go, you will learn how to move to the next level, and you won't even know what happened and how it happened. And you just wake up one day, and when someone says a certain person's name, or you think about an ex, or a song comes on that you were used to listening to, and when you don't get that weird feeling on the inside, when your heart stops racing, when your palms stop sweating, when all of those things don't matter to you anymore, that's when you know you've made it. So give yourself a little test, because I would say please be very cautious if you have some of those symptoms. Like I said, when I used to hear names, when I used to think about things, even certain perfumes, colognes, things like that, that would send you to a trip, foods, all of that stuff. Old family members, friends you run into that say, oh, well, what happened to X, Y, and Z? If you get any of those symptoms, heart racing, uh, you know, feeling like, you got this streak of anger going through you, wanting to do a drive by, all of those things that we used to do so well. Caution. There's nothing wrong with those feelings. Embrace those feelings. But just know that that might be a sign of, I understand where you want to go, but just not yet. I understand where we want to get to, but just not yet. So if you still have those feelings, just tell yourself, just not yet. Baby steps, baby steps. Just not yet. I don't think that I truly started to learn how to forgive people. Now remember 2020 was a breakdown, but my real breakthrough didn't come until 2022. And my real breakthrough didn't come through until I was in another country. Because all of those symptoms that I told you about, heart racing, sweaty palms, feeling like you want to just go and rip somebody's face off, always trying to get under somebody else to get over. Is that right? Get under somebody else to get over? Yeah. All of those things. Just to try to cover up, put on all types of jewelry, clothes, this, that, the next, the other, take this trip, do that. That's the first thing I did. Let's just hop on a plane and, act like, we doing something. All of that. Yeah. But my breakthrough didn't come until 2022, to where I had to be out of my element and My Heavenly Father said, listen here, since you don't want to do what you're supposed to do, I'm going to have to teach you a lesson. Because if you stay here in the States thinking that you're doing what you're doing and you're going to keep getting what you're getting, and all it's going to do is take for you to bump into somebody that reminds you of one of your exes from the past, or bump into somebody that reminds you from somebody on your job that you were ready to, get with, you're going to end up being in jail somewhere. You're going to end up being in jail. You're going to end up having a problem. There's going to be an issue. So let me take you out of your comfort zone. Let me take you to another country and go ahead and you try that stuff over there and see what happens. Breakthrough moment right there. And then I came back a changed man. So I know, understand where we're trying to get to, but maybe just not yet. So if you still have those feelings, I want you to embrace them. Okay. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm just speaking from experience. Embrace them. Just know I understand where we want to get to, but just not yet. We're just not there yet. So if you know you're not there yet, because you know the term fake it until you make it, I get it. Trust and believe, because you have to fake it until you make it. Because if you don't, then you ain't going to get there. You have to believe it before it gets here. You have to speak it before it gets here. You have to speak it into existence. You have to become the person that you want to be. So if you are not there yet, trust and believe, I understand and know. We just not there yet. But don't sit there and act like you got it and you're all well put together. And don't sit there and trick yourself and not get the help and the healing and the growth that you need. There's an art to letting go. And Volleen Jackson, thank you so much for coming through. I know we had such a great conversation. And one message that I have to say tonight is, there's an internal dialogue and there's an external dialogue. That external dialogue, that's what everybody else sees. They see you put on the makeup, the clothes, the jewelry, the cars, the houses. They see all of that. But they can't see what goes on internally. Only you can. So don't fool yourself and don't trick yourself. Because I knew that, listen, every time I go past this situation, every time I experience something that reminds me of something, I felt a certain way. And I challenged myself. And I spoke to myself and spoke myself through. Nah, we're not worried about that no more. Now, today, when I say I feel good, I feel amazing, I truly do. Because people from the past, they didn't do anything to me. They did something for me. They helped me, because without all of the issues and the situations and the drama and the backstabbing and the backbiting and all of that stuff that took place, I would not be here speaking to y'all today. So I understand and I get it, and I love each and every one of them. And I never thought I would get to the point. I always used to say, ooh, when I see them in the street, oh, I better not never see them. I can't wait until that's how I used to act. Internally, that was the internal dialogue. I was ready to go in. Now it's like, you know what? I don't want to see them. Trust and believe. I'm on a whole vibrational level anyway. So the chances are me bumping into them and running into them are slim to none, because that's a whole nother thing. Once you level up and you get off of the vibration level that ignorance and all of that stuff is on, you ain't even worried about it. I used to be worried about bumping into him, and there was a possibility that I could have bumped into him because I was still vibrating from anger, hate, all of that type of stuff. But now that I'm on vibrational levels of joy, love, peace, happiness, kindness, I know that those folks aren't even on my level anyway, so I'm not even going to run into them. I'm not even going to see them, so it doesn't even matter to me. But I used to feel a certain way when certain little triggers, certain names, certain songs, themes, all of that stuff. But now I just smile with joy, and I give nothing but peace and love, and just want healing and growth for my enemies. Like, when you can pray for your enemies and you don't feel bad no more, you don't feel like you want to hurt them, you don't feel like you want to smack anybody up, you don't feel like you want to do anything horrible, and you want nothing but peace, love, and joy for them, that's when you know you've made it. That's when I speak about the art of letting go. There's an art to it. And that's when you know you've let go. Yeah, pray for your enemies, because listen, the more that you get angry and want to pay back and want to repay, the Bible says never repay evil with evil. When you start to act like that, only thing you doing is hurting yourself. That person is probably going on and starting to terrorize and disrupt the next human being, disrupt the next soul. And here you are sitting there harboring on and thinking about what they doing, and they ain't worried about you. And the more that you have those feelings, the quicker that you're going to dig yourself into a grave. When I figured that out, oh, this is life or death. Absolutely. You think it's a game. Every single time that you have anger, hate, discord leads to disease, and we already know where that comes from. That what comes after that, and you will end up being putting yourself 6 feet under, and those people could care less about what you got going on. So be careful with that. The art of letting go. Learn to let go. Let folks go. God can take people far. God can take care of people far way better than you can. That angriness, that bitterness, that ain't doing nothing but poisoning your own system, and putting you into a state, a lower vibrational state. And anyway, wow, very passionate about that. But I feel great. I feel amazing, and you should all feel that same way too. And if you don't feel great and amazing, keep speaking it until you believe it, and put yourself in better situations. Shout out to Mickey Howard, recording artist Mickey Howard. Um, she follows me on Instagram. I follow her on Instagram. She was the first R&B artist to acknowledge the 4-1 podcast. So shout out to Miss Mickey Howard. And I love her song Love Under New Management. See, when you let go, you just are under I'm under new management. And it's just a new, different type of love. And I don't look into other people, places, and things. I only look to one. And that's my executive producer. And I love when Mickey Howard says experience is a good teacher, and it takes someone like me to know. Speaking of this mentorship program, speaking of this whole journey that I'm on, experience is a good teacher. And because of that, I have become the teacher. And it takes someone like me to know, be careful what you ask for, people. Because I remember when I was at the height of my career in retail, and it was a point where it became boring to me. I was like, I don't feel like even being here anymore. This is so boring. And I said, God, I want to do exactly what I'm doing. Because, I would love everyone would knock on my door and be like, hey, Laren, can I speak to you? I have a problem. And I'm sitting here speaking to them about their personal problems, telling them how I used to make $8 an hour. And here I am making, what was I making? I'm not going to put the salary out there, but trust and believe, I went from $8 an hour to more money the most money that I've seen in my life at that time. Put it that way. It was lots of money. And I told them, listen, I started off at $8 an hour, and I know I'm paying you what, 9, 10, 12 sometimes at the time, 15. You can be just like me. Trust and believe. And I know you're going to have a family one day. I know you got a family. I would get people on the right track. And I was pretty much a coach at that time. And I didn't even know I was. But that job set me up for what I'm doing here today. And I remember just saying, God, I want to be able to use my life to help people, because I thought I was going to be in the music industry, and that didn't work. And here I was in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s. And I just said, well, if it's not going to be the music, then just let it be something else to where I'm actually, using my life as an experience. Well, what did I say that for? Because when I said that, I'm sure he was like, okay, and started to put things in order. But I didn't know that the hell that I would have to go through to get here today. And experience is a good teacher. And I've learned a lot. And I'm here to continue to grow, here to share, and here to help people overcome some of the things that I've been through. Maybe you won't make the same mistakes that I've made. Maybe you will. Maybe you're going to be stepping into something you don't even know you're stepping into it. But just know that you can come here to the 4-in-1 podcast, Reading Between the Wines, to get some healing, some breakthrough, some type of way. I want to be a resource for people out there to know that this is a place where you can come. And yeah, what a great introduction. Thank you so much to Burning Sky. I see you out there. Thank you so much for joining. The people out there, if you are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, D Live, Twitch, wherever you get the 411 podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer. I can't believe that we're here, but we're here, and long time coming. But thank you so much. Wherever you get the podcast, just know that you can get it from several different outlets, and if one doesn't work for you, go to the other, because I know it could be tricky out there sometimes with these algorithms and these different places doing certain things. I'm not even going to get into it that because last month I experienced some issues where they blocked something and it was available here. But just know that you can go get us from several different places, which is amazing. Thank you so much for that support out there. Let's get into the song of the day. I'm going to take my little sip. I know I was out there talking a lot, but song of the day, Tricks on My Mind by Montell Jordan, released in 1996 off of his album More. So, Tricks on My Mind. I love this song because it Montell Jordan is a West Coast artist. And at this time in 96, I believe that we were, I'm a Mary fan. I'm not trying to not take it there, but I'm a Mary J. Blige fan. And Share My World was out during this time. But Montell Jordan was calling himself the king of hip hop soul. Mary J. Blige is the queen of hip hop soul. So I knew what he was doing with this album with More. Even though he's a West Coast artist, he was giving us more East Coast vibes. There was a lot of samples. He used Method Man, Mary J. Blige, All I Need sample on this album. And that's what Tricks on My Mind is giving you. You get that You're All I Need sample off of here. And I loved it. So Tricks on My Mind, he's basically speaking about why are you going to play tricks on my mind? In a relationship, someone playing tricks on your mind. Have you been there before? Because I know I have. So here's the thing. We can't allow people to play tricks on our mind unless we start to play them on ourselves. Because when someone starts to play tricks on your mind and playing games, we have to be strong enough to let them know. Actually, we don't have to let them know anything. I backed it up. We got to be strong enough to speak to ourselves and let ourselves know that a game is coming. And you do exactly that. You relinquish your power and you give up your power when you allow people to play tricks on your mind. Because you need to be able to see that thing coming before it even gets here. Like my friend says, be very careful when you first meet people. My mentor, thank you so much. Shout out to AKA Bronx, New York. Thank you so much for everything that you have taught me over the years. But she says, stay out of the bedroom. Stay out of the bedroom because everything is going to be hot and heavy in the beginning. Yep, everything going to be hot and heavy in the beginning. And for those of you who don't know, if you're in a relationship, about to step in a relationship, you just got out of a relationship. Whenever you meet somebody for the first 2 years, don't do anything drastic. I will repeat that again. For the first 2 years after you've been dating somebody, don't do anything drastic like move in with them, get married, get pregnant, all of those things. Start taking on car notes, paying bills, taking responsibilities. There's something in your brain that makes you high. Yep. When you first meet somebody, you get those little butterflies in your stomach. When you see that person, your heart goes pitter patter. You just don't know what to do. You're just a mess. For the first 2 years, it takes 2 years for that little thing to dim down. Now, when we do things quick and heavy and start moving in with people and doing things, I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm just speaking from experience. You understand where I'm coming from? When that thing starts to wear it off, you wake up and you start to ask yourself and question yourself, what the hell did I get myself into? What the hell are you here for? And how the hell do I get you out of here? Sometimes it's too late because we said I do. Sometimes it's too late because we put ourselves in some situations and we become pregnant. We become parents, and now you have to deal with that individual for the rest of your life. Be very careful. Stay out the bedroom. And if you're going to play that game, make sure that you do all of your homework. Make sure that you put in your reps first so that you know that when these tricks start to be played, you know when it's game. But can't nobody play tricks on your mind unless you let them. Now, we're going to shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to help out Mr. Jason. Jason is from Charlotte, North Carolina. So when I spoke about playing tricks on your mind, spoke about you doing it to yourself, nobody doing it for you, nobody doing it to you, you doing it to yourself, that's exactly it. So a lot of times we're stuck in the situations that we're in because we play tricks on our own mind. Now, the episode tonight, The Weight of the Mind, we speaking about mind, we speaking about mental. We're going to help Jason out a little bit. Shout out to Charlotte, North Carolina. Jason suffers from anxiety and avoidance when facing his debt. The stress keeps him up at night and impacts his work performance. He wants to start planning, but mentally shuts down every time he tries. I'll go ahead and read that again, just in case y'all need to go ahead and dissect this a little bit. Jason suffers from anxiety and avoidance when facing his debt. And we're gonna break all of this down. The stress keeps him up at night and impacts his performance at work. He wants to start planning, but mentally shuts down every time he tries. So, again, a lot of the things that we experience, we do it to ourselves. And I'm not here to give anybody advice, just to let you know that this is not any financial advice. This is not any medical advice, any of that type of thing. I strongly urge you to go ahead and seek a professional because I am not certified in any of these things. But like I said earlier in the beginning, experience is a good teacher, and it takes someone like me to know. Sometimes the people who have real life experience in some of these things can give you the tools and the information that you need versus you going elsewhere. So I'm going to just put that out there like that. But again, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm only speaking from my life experiences and the things that I know. But I'm going to help Jason a little bit tonight. And for those of you out there, if you have any experience with this, drop it in the comments, let me know. And when I get towards the end of the show, we're going to go ahead and, read your comments and everything like that. When it comes to anxiety, when it comes to stress, when it comes to anger, when it comes to all of those things, just know that that's from the enemy. God is not going to give us anxiety. God is not going to give us stress. God is not going to give us anything that's going to make us angry and step out of our character of love. Now, having said that, when we are in debt, when we get into these situations here, we have to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, how did we get here? And sometimes it takes us to take some responsibility. I was in tons of debt. I had people in my environment that I didn't want there. I was doing a blame game, pointing a finger. You did this, you did that. But they didn't do anything. I allowed that to happen. I invited the enemy in. You ever heard sleeping with the enemy? I invited that in. And then when I look up, I'm like, well, how the hell did you get here? And number one, how the hell do I get you out of here? So when you have anxiety, when you have stress, when you have anger, think about, what did I do to put myself in this situation, and how did I get here? What did I do to put myself in this situation? Why am I feeling this way? Some of us can't ask that question because we're too busy pointing fingers at everybody else and blaming everybody else. She did this, he did that, she did that, they did that. They didn't do anything that you didn't allow them to do. And no one told you to swipe the credit card and buy the cars and do all of that. And I'm not sitting here to point fingers because I was a stone cold fool. I used to want every single car, every single piece of jewelry, every single sneaker shoe that everybody else had. And I was the most angriest. I was the most disrespectful. I don't like the person that I was before, but I love who I am today. And if it comes with all of that jewelry, cars, clothes, this, that, the next, the other, you can have that because I don't want that. The joy and the peace and the love that I have today versus the person that I used to be dressed up and all this, I don't want that. And I can sleep good at night knowing that my bills are paid. Second, I can sleep good at night knowing that I don't have all of the extra stress that some of my coworkers, some of my family, some of my friends have. They can have all that. Y'all want to go on all your trips and you want to do all of this and you want to do all of that and drive this and drive that and buy this and buy that. Okay. I was always called weird when I was younger. Like, you're just strange and you're not doing what everybody else does. And you always, drive these certain cars and yeah, because I was preparing for who I am today. And when I did step out of my comfort zone, when I did swipe the credit card, when I did buy things extra that I shouldn't have been buying, when I did go on trips that I shouldn't have been going, I couldn't hardly half enjoy it because I was angry and I was miserable because I knew that I was doing something going against God's plan. All of my family members, everybody who was around me, I would be the person who would ruin everything because while I'm here, while I spent my money, while I did some dumb things to get here, I'm bringing everybody else down because deep down inside I know that this isn't right and I'm mean mugging everybody. And I'm just miserable towards everybody. I don't know who I'm speaking to tonight. I'm just speaking from experience and I'm letting you know that this is the person that I used to be. Now I'm different. So Jason, when it comes to that anxiety and all of that stress and I can't do this and I can't do that, I'm not saying that you're going to get out right away because it takes some time, but we might need to do some reflection. We might need to look in the mirror and ask, where is this anxiety coming from? What is causing these? What triggers is it? And whatever it is, get rid of it. If that car gives you anxiety every time you have to go ahead and make that car payment, if that job gives you anxiety every time you go there, maybe we might need to change some things up and get rid of it. Maybe you need to look for another job. Maybe you need to go ahead and downsize. Maybe you need to sell that car. Maybe you need to sell that house. I know I did that and I feel so much better. Listen, the person I am today, that'll be a whole nother episode. But yeah, cutting grass and shoveling snow and doing all that stuff, trying to decorate your house and outdo your neighbors and all that stuff. Yeah, been there and done that. I don't want that condominium lifestyle today. Somebody else gonna be shoveling that snow. Somebody else gonna be cutting that grass. I want no parts of it today. I did that before. No, thank you. Having the pets run around in the backyard cleaning up dog poop, this, that, the next, the other. I'm good. Yep. Want no parts of it. Avoidance. Let's speak about Jason's avoidance issue. You can avoid debt all you want. You can avoid paying your bills. You can avoid taking responsibility. But it's always going to be there. And there's a little thing called interest. And the more that you avoid it and the more that you don't take responsibility for the actions that you've caused to get to that situation, the worse it's going to be. Find out what's triggering it. Do whatever you need to do to try to avoid it as much as possible. And I know it ain't easy, easier said than done. And dig into it, find out. I was paying over, I want to say about $200 in credit card interest. Just reckless paying it, swiping cards, doing dumb stuff. When I started to get out of avoiding taking responsibility, I started to dig into my credit card statements and I saw how much money I was paying in interest that wasn't even freaking going to the balance. A light bulb went off. I said, you know what I could be doing with that money? I would challenge you to think about when I say avoidance, that's basically when you've given up, when you don't want to open up credit card bill statements, you don't want to take responsibility, you don't want to try to do better, you just say, oh well, it is what it is. You have that mentality. When you get to that point where you start to see how much money is trickling out and that you're losing daily, weekly, monthly, annually, it'll open up a whole new door for you. But I get it when it comes to that avoidance. I get it. A lot of people have been there. And this is another thing when it comes to avoidance. And I don't want to go off tangents because I know we're sitting here helping Mr. Jason out here. If you are in a relationship with someone who is dealing with some financial avoidance, meaning that they could give two craps about what's going on in your financial situation, and you're sitting there trying to pull the weight for them, and they're the ones just creating all kinds of nonsense and avoiding taking responsibility. There's a lot to be said about two people being on the same page, and there's a lot to be said about somebody who is putting in their work and one who isn't. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm just speaking from experience, but I think it says something about being evenly yoked. Okay. Just put it that way. Be very careful with that, because some of those things may not be long term, and you might think that it's long term, but yeah, be very careful with that. The stress keeps him up at night. I already spoke about how I can sleep at night. I used to toss and turn. I used to think about bills and think about how I'm going to pay this and how we're going to rob Peter to pay Paul. There is no answer to it except to pay for your debt, get out of debt. And when you get out of debt, some of us are able to sleep better at night. And I've had some of the best sleep that I've had in my lifetime. And listen, I've had a lot of years of being out there, a lot of years of fussing, fighting, and carrying on in the middle of the night over bills and this, that, the next, the other, that. Yeah, it's time for me to just have some makeup, good night rest and joy and peaceful nights. And they're here. And now that I know what it's like to sleep peaceful and to be able to sleep and not get up in the middle of the night and pace the floor, I don't want to go back to that. So that's not a good thing. And do I have the answer for when you have sleepless nights? Besides, sometimes you're just going to have to get in there and do what you got to do. Take responsibility. Pay back what is owed. And one thing, when it comes time to learning and planning and shutting down, you're going to have to ask for some help. If you get to the point where you keep trying to do things, but you shut down and you mentally can't handle it, you avoid taking responsibility for the things that have been put in front of you and the bills and the things that are coming in, and you can't sleep at night, now's the time where you might need to seek some professional help. There are all types of financial coaches. There are different debt forgiveness programs, but you need to be very careful because some of those 1-800 numbers and the things that you hear on the radio, they could get you into some situations. But I would start working out all types of deals that you can work to get some of this debt cleaned up. I don't know what type of debt you have, but majority of Americans out there, the credit card debt is the number one high interest debt, toxic debt, which is considered payday loans and stuff like that, car payments, all of that stuff. You can eliminate it. Your life just going to have to be different. And that means you may not drive the car that you're driving right now. You might have to cut that credit card up. Actually, there is no might. That's probably the first step. Because anybody who's in credit card debt, the first thing you need to do is cut the credit cards up and stop using them. And you may not be able to go to those fancy restaurants. You may not be able to go on those vacations. So we're only getting a little surface here. I don't know what the true detail is, but yeah, definitely seek some professional help at this point, because if you continue to avoid and continue to have sleepless nights and this and that, the next, the other, it's only going to lead to something far worse than this. So any questions, any feedback, anything that you have for Mr. Jason out there, please feel free to go ahead and drop it in the comments. If you're watching the replay, listening to the replay, you can comment and let us know how you feel about that. And Yeah, again, like I said, like Miss Mickey Howard said, experience is a good teacher, and it takes someone like me to know. I have been in and out of debt at least three times, and in 2020 was the last straw, and I said absolutely not. And the pandemic happened. I remember people on the TV saying, "There's a couple things that are getting ready to happen, and there's going to be a group of people who change their life, and there's going to be a group of people who just stay stuck. This is a time for people to start to figure out what they want to do, and there's going to be a group of people who move and elevate to the next level." And I basically said I want that to be me, because I already knew what I was dealing with. I was in a job that I couldn't stand, I was in a marriage I couldn't stand, I was in all types of stuff that I didn't want, and I had a whole bunch of credit card debt. I had a whole bunch of debt because, the American dream, go and buy a house. Everything's wonderful. Oh, I'm a homeowner. Hmm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. You are not a homeowner until you make that final payment. Do me a favor and stop paying them for 6 months to a year and see what happens to that home since you think it's yours. So I knew I had a significant amount still left. If I would have thugged it out a little bit, if God allowed me to live until here, under the circumstances that I was under, I would have owned my house today, but I don't know what my health would look like. I don't even know if I probably wouldn't even be here today. The amount of stress and the BS that I had to deal with, and just like Jason, the sleepless nights and all of that stuff, please. So I get it. I get it. So, yeah. Jason, I hope this helps you, and I hope we're able to help you with that. And if those of you out there, if you have any questions that you would like us to discuss here, please feel free. You can text me at 609 200 1098. Again, that number is 609 200 1098. You can also email me as well, and maybe we'll discuss your scenario here on 411 Podcast, Reading Between the Wines. And yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, like, so it hits home all too well, and I get it because I've been there before. And yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the segment where we get into burning questions. Again, if you have any questions that you'd like to bring to the forefront, you may text me at 609 200 1098, and maybe we'll go ahead and answer your burning question live here. Burning question tonight: what daily mental habits help you stay focused, resilient, and emotionally balanced? I'll read that again. What daily mental habits help you stay focused, resilient, and emotionally balanced? So, and again, if you want to chime in tonight, please go ahead and put that in the comments and let me know. So, what daily mental habits help you stay focused? I'll take it into the focus aspect, I'll take it into the resilience, and then the emotionally balanced. So, to stay focused, first of all, I don't leave my environment without prayer. I remember my former self. As soon as the alarm clock would get off, I'm jumping in the shower, rushing around, getting ready for work, going through somebody's drive-through, Dunkin' Donuts, whatever the case may be, and going into work without prayer, without getting grounded, without centering with self. And whatever crap that was on the news, whatever was on the radio, whatever argument, disagreement that I had before I stepped out into my environment, I poured that on every single person that, I encountered. If someone gave me an attitude on the road, on the drive-through, whatever the case may be, here I am passing that along to the next person. So one thing that I do to stay focused and stay grounded is to center with self before I even leave my environment. Because We are going to face challenges on a day-to-day basis. We are going to experience some nonsense. We're going to experience some BS. We're going to experience some trials because it's a test. This is a test. Life is a test. And if you don't pass the test, you just have to do it over again. So for those of you out there who might say, oh, wow, I keep experiencing the same thing over and over again. I keep running into the same type of personality. I keep experiencing the same thing over and over again. That's because you are not passing the test. And if you don't pass the test, you have to do it again. So as we get tested throughout the day, our tolerance level gets chipped away little by little by little by little. Now, if you don't build that tolerance level up in the morning before you leave your environment, you're already entering into a lower state, subjecting yourself to nonsense and subjecting yourself to depletion. Now, when you get to depletion, that's when the attitude, that's when the cussing, the fighting, you're already on a lower vibrational level at that moment. So you want to build your level up high. You want to leave high because you don't know what you are going to face. The enemy is waiting to come out there and devour and to cause havoc and to wreak nonsense into your world. So as you know that, that means you have a responsibility to do something to protect yourself. Anybody who runs out and just puts themselves out there, you're asking for trouble. So I would say that's one aspect. I also control the things that I consume from a visual and from hearing, from listening to certain things. I don't put myself in an environment with negative people and negative themes because I used to be my own worst enemy. I used to be the person who would bring somebody down. I used to be the person who would pick up the phone and call somebody and have nothing nice to say at all. And I wasn't happy until you're just as miserable as I was or even worse. That used to be me. What is that? A definition of an energy vampire? So I know what that's like. So you have to be cautious of that as well. And you have to be resilient when it comes to dealing with those type of people, and you have to be able to dodge that, and you have to be able to protect your peace and protect your energy. And emotionally balanced. Don't put yourself into environments that are not producing. If you feel that something triggers you emotionally, remove it immediately. So I get up and I remove myself. I remove myself and I don't put myself into situations where there's going to be some type of emotions going on, because when emotions are high, intelligence goes out the window. And I had to tell myself time and time again and work myself through and say, okay, is this hurting me? Is this helping me? Why do I feel this way about X, Y, and Z? What triggers this situation here? And once I started to dig deep and figure out what the trigger points are, what I don't like, guess what? You don't have to go back. Now, if you keep putting yourself in a situation knowing that certain things bother you, then you're just asking for help. You're asking for trouble. So I know I don't like certain things, so I'm not going to go there. I know I don't like certain people, so I'm not going to be around that. And another thing, we are not responsible for regulating anybody else's nervous system. Only person that you are responsible for taking care of is you. Everything starts with self. When we start to put ourselves into situations where we think that we can control somebody else's situation and somebody else's outcome, you're setting yourself up for failure. I used to be so emotional like Carl Thomas because I was trying to control not only my environment, but somebody else's. It's called self-control for a reason. There's enough going on with self that it takes a lot of work to control me, that I don't have time to be worried about trying to control somebody else's outcome and somebody else's environment and somebody else's behaviors and somebody else's actions. Try it if you want to. That's all I have to say. Try it if you want to. After a while, you're going to realize that you keep hitting a brick wall and you keep hitting these same stumbling blocks. And there's a reason for it, is because we have not been put on earth to control another human being. Now, he put us on earth to control all types of things and to trample and to conquer all of the creepy, crawly things and the fish of the sea and the birds and all of that stuff. And, I'm just giving it to you in my version. I'm not sitting here trying to say I'm an expert when it comes to biblical text. But not nowhere in my studies have I learned that he put us here to control another human being. That comes from the other. So you can go ahead if you want to, but we've not been put here to control anybody else, and it is not our job to regulate somebody else's nervous system. I can't be responsible. I don't want to be responsible for anybody else's feelings. The only person I don't want to be myself. And if we all focused on self, this world would be a better place instead of worrying about what somebody else has going on. So we take on too much. Sometimes we do too much, and we wonder why mentally we feel that we can't handle and we can't get to the next level. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm just speaking from experience. But on that note, I want to say thank you so much for those of you who came through. If you're out there, give me some feedback. Let me know how you feel about Mental Mondays. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend, invite them in. Let them know what we have going on here. Tomorrow, join me back here. Same place, same time. Right here, 411 Podcast, Reading Between the Wines. Transformational Tuesday. If you have any burning questions that you'd like us to dissect, any scenarios, any situations, anything that has to do with your financial, mental, spiritual walk in life, financial, go ahead and let us know. Text me at 609-200-1098. You can also email me at info@larengaines.com. And also, head on over to larengaines.com. Check out Black Diamond Consultations. I do offer coaching services as well. If you are passionate about debt-free living and want to upgrade and level up your life, head on over to larengaines.com. You can send me a text message, and I offer free 15-minute consultations. And again, you have to hit your rock bottom. I can't pull anybody through. I can't let anyone I can't pull anyone through. I can't push anyone through. If you want to get to the next level of your life, you have to take that responsibility. When I learned that, when it comes to the type of business that this is a financial business. This is not about selling anything. This is not about coaxing or coercing anybody to, do coaching so that you can become debt free. Because like I said, I was been in and out of debt 3 times. Got out of debt. Oh, Lord, please help me get out. I promise I won't do it again. And as soon as you get out of debt, be swiping up a storm again and charging up a storm and purchasing up a storm. And oh, Lord, please, please help me get out of debt. And I promise I won't do it again. And then what happened? Go ahead and do it again. The person who will succeed in this journey, the person who will succeed in this is that person who has had enough. When enough is enough and you want to cut them credit cards up and you want nothing to do with it again, oh, that's the person that's going to succeed. When you think about a credit card, it makes you want to throw up. You feel like the worst feeling ever. That's when it comes to debt-free living. When you are not borrowing somebody else's money, you are not living off of somebody else's money. You are not living from paycheck to paycheck. You are not, listen, you have got to get good and sick and tired of yourself. Good and sick and tired of your situation, when you were just disgusted, when you were embarrassed, when you were all of that. Those are the people who are going to succeed, not the person that thinks that this is a game. I've coached many people who, are not serious, or they think that they're serious about it, or, oh, this might be this situation, or I can't pay this, or I can't do that. Well, If you have that mentality, that means that you're not ready and you're not serious for this program. You have got to be good and sick and tired of yourself to where you absolutely do not want to do it again. Because if you continue to go down this path, this could be a life or death situation for you. Those are the type of people who will benefit from any type of financial coaching. The coach is not going to go ahead and just wave a magic wand and everything's going to be okay. We will give you the tools and everything that you need to succeed. But guess what? What is in between you and getting out of debt and getting to the next level is one simple word, and that is action. If you do not take action with the things that you've learned along this journey, it is never going to work. And when I learned that, I understood exactly who this program is for. So if you are interested, you might have heard something tonight that you liked, something might have sparked. I have a free 15-minute consultation so we can discuss a few things to see if you qualify for the coaching sessions. But on that note, you can come back, you can learn and continue to learn and continue to get more information to be able to help you guide your decision as far as what direction you're going in your life. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much for everybody out there. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, tag a friend, do whatever you need to do to let them know what we have going on here. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Have a good night. Take care. Thank you so much.